Rob?
Hello everyone and welcome to Rob's Rogues and the Batman Universe, and today we're taking a look at DC Comics Super Villains DC Collectibles Deathstroke action figure. I just picked him up today at my local comic book shop. I actually had Black Adam also at my local comic book shop that I had ordered. Only had enough money for one of them today, and I'll pick up Black Adam probably next week or maybe the week after. But I went in going to pick up Black Adam until I saw Deathstroke in the package, and I thought Deathstroke looked good. I thought he was going to be a nice addition to my Justice League figures that I currently already have. But the images that we saw online, which, I mean, are accurate, but actually seeing this figure in close and in person, of course I haven't got him out of the box yet, but he is a really, really nicely sculpted figure from what I could tell. His articulation looks pretty decent as well. I'm very excited to get Deathstroke out of package. And I was kind of curious who the hero was that they were going to put him up against. Of course, we have Joker, which, you know, obviously they were pairing him up against Batman. And Captain Cold was going up against Flash, and Black Manta against Aquaman. So I didn't figure he was going to go up against Batman. I was kind of hoping maybe it was going to be Green Arrow, and then from the package itself, you can actually see that that's kind of who they intend to maybe for you to put him with. Of course, you can put him with anybody. But that's nice that there was kind of pairing them that way, and I kind of thought that's the way it was going to be given the fact of the popularity of the Arrow TV show. And of course, Black Adam is going to be paired up against Shazam. He doesn't come out, I think, probably next year, January. I don't think he's a December figure. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is December. So I opted to not get Black Adam just because Shazam's not out yet, and mainly because I thought Deathstroke was a really nice looking figure. We're looking at the back here. We'll just read the bio. It says, decorated soldier Slade Wilson volunteered for an experimental treatment to increase his strength, speed, and endurance. Upon leaving the military, Wilson began a new life as a mercenary, the most dangerous the world has ever seen. Can't read today for some reason. I'm going to be doing the Rogue Show today, so I got to get my tongue untied. Here's the side panel art, which I think is really cool. I love the look. It almost looks like it's, you know, a mask. I thought maybe they should have had it, you know, half shown right there. Almost like a domino mask, but still very cool. I love the silhouettes that they do here. And then I thought it was really cool. Nice little purple motif. Again, the villains all have the torn part of the peel back from the D. But you can see the bullet holes here, which I think is really kind of cool. And then this is sculpted by Jean Saint Jean. I think he also did Black Manta, if I remember correctly, or maybe it was Captain Cold. They have Captain Cold's box. No, it's not that one. I think it might actually be the Joker. I don't have that box with me. But a quick little backstory for those who don't know. Deathstroke made his first appearance in the new Teen Titans #2 in 1980. And then in the new 52, of course, the armor that he's wearing is kind of part of the nth metal that Hawkman ends up wearing. A real popular story that a lot of people associate Deathstroke with would be the Judas Contract that I have never read. And it wasn't until this year that I heard a podcast called Taking Flight. It's a Nightwing, Dick Grayson, Robin podcast. And the guy that does it, his name is Tom Panarese, and is a big Teen Titans fan and does a review of the Judas Contract. And it's making me want to go out and actually pick it up for myself to read. So enough of the talking and rambling here. We will get Mr. Slade Wilson out of the package and take a look at the DC Collectibles Deathstroke DC Comics Super Villain. We'll be right back, guys. All right, here is Slade Wilson Deathstroke out of package, and I gotta tell you, I think he's just as good out of package as he is in package. This is another really nice action figure from DC Collectibles. And again, they're bringing it with their A game as far as articulation. Now, he is lacking in some other places, but the articulation that he has is a step in the right direction, and I can understand why maybe they didn't do some articulation, just because the sculpting is so good, and they probably feel the same way I do, that maybe putting an ab crunch that you can't see in here would probably break up the wonderful sculpting that is done. And we'll get in tight on the sculpting, and that's something that DC Direct really, really does well, that I think makes them stand out from other DC action figures that you might have. It's coming from DC Comics, Warner Brothers itself, so they are really paying attention to detail. Like I mentioned, I wasn't a big fan of Deathstroke until more recently, again with Arkham Origins. When the New 52 hit, I wasn't picking up his comic book, but I was picking up Green Arrow a little bit once I saw there was a crossover with Hawkman. It was a Hawkman Wanted series along with Deathstroke. Then those three comic books, Hawkman, Deathstroke, and Green Arrow, all played in together. So it was one of the first times I read a Deathstroke comic book in the New 52, and I really liked the way that they were taking the Deathstroke character from what little bit that I knew. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's get a close look, because I've got this zoomed in pretty good here, to the face of Deathstroke. Of course, he has one eye, and does not hinder him at all. Imagine if he had two eyes. Sorry for the shakiness here. But the face sculpt is done very, very well. So the face isn't all orange. It does have like the black, almost domino mask, and that was the silhouette that we were seeing there. So the whole hood or armored head is not, half and half orange. It would have been nice to have the bandana part streaming out like the Arkham Origins figure, but still very good. I love the chainmail in this, and you can see that there is definite definition in here. It's just not all flat. You can see the wrinkles and the bumps to kind of show where his abs and rib cage are, and his chest. Having the ab crunch in here would have totally broken that up, and it would have made the figure, I think, look a little sloppy. Now, some of you ACBAers out there may be like, well, I want to get him to, bend over a little bit and get him in some dynamic poses. Yeah, you're not going to get totally a lot of that, but the sculpting is done so well, and I think you're going to be able to get him in some very good poses even still. And there's the back. I mean, even on the back of the figure, it's not like they're chinsing out. You can see the chainmail in the back. It's a nice, fresh look on the Deathstroke character. Just updated him a little bit. Some gauntlets, very Batman-esque here. You can see the sword. I'll show you how that's attached in a little bit. And the holster for the gun. He does come with 3 accessories, which is very, very cool. Sometimes DC Collectibles, DC Direct doesn't give us a whole lot of accessories, but what we do have is very, very good. Let's back the camera out here. We'll go over some articulation since we were talking about breaking up the sculpt and stuff. His head is on a nice ball joint. You can get some nice dynamic poses, tilt to the left and right. He looks down okay, and the sword just kind of comes off there. Looks up. I mean, not too much. It's more of a straight pose. You can kind of see he is facing up a little bit. But even just, tilting the head to the left and right, I think is really cool. I'll shine just a little bit of extra light here. So I do like, you can get a nice little animated movement out of the head. Like, should I kill you this way? Or should I kill you this way? Definitely a fun part in the Arkham Origins game, and it makes me kind of want to read more of Deathstroke in the New 52. His shoulders on a nice ball joint here. Now, this kind of reminds me of the Darkseid figure, where the shoulder pads do lift up. They don't come off like the Darkseids do. But you can see the shoulders are on a ball and socket. And this reminds me a lot of Mattel in the arms here. You don't see where that's at. Normally, DC Collectibles is up underneath. Kind of see the ball peg right there. And he has the bicep swivel. Again, DC Collectibles really kind of doing it pretty good. Bend at the elbow. get the elbow to bend here, and turns at the gauntlet instead of the hand. So you can get some nice movement out of Deathstroke's arm here. So even having the shoulder pads up, it's not going to hinder the figure. That's as far as the arm comes up by itself, so the shoulder pads again are not going to hinder that. So it would go full 360, so it does stop it from there, but so you can get the arm up but not in more of a straight up position. So still, I think that would work just fine probably for whatever you're going to do. Me, he's probably going to be standing on my shelf, kind of, you know, doing what he does best. Legs go forward and back. There is no T-joint like Batman from Arkham Origins had, so it's just a standard kind of straight forward and back. So that might be where some of it's lacking. There's no waist swivel at all or ab crunch. Not too many of the Justice League figures or villains have had that. The Joker does, but some of the other ones you're going to see in a minute don't really have that either. Bends at the knee, single bend, and has a nice amount of foot articulation. So you can get this guy in some decent positions. As you can see, he comes with 3 accessories. We had the sword here, which does have a notch in the back of it. That's kind of a little bit of a bummer, I guess. If you're posing it, make sure you do have it one way as opposed to the other, so you don't kind of see that depending on how you have it. Maybe they just could have done like a sheath like Black Mana, or even the DC Collectible or the Mattel with the sword pouch in it. But hey, maybe in the comics it's kind of the nth metal armor kind of holds it into position, so that's pretty cool. He does hold the gun pretty well here. Let me get him in frame here, Rob. This hand is in a trigger pose, if I can get it in there. Has a trigger finger, so I knocked the sword out. It's really kind of stiff getting him out of the package for the first time. So you can get his gun in there. Pretty cool. And he has a knife. That's not a knife. Really kind of awkward in here. He does have these extra pouches that they're rubber, more like kind of Batman, Superman's cape, so they're not going to get in the way. He's got a knife here, which is a nice little accessory to have. Then again, with the sword that I just dropped, and I've got Deathstroke off camera here. Pardon with me 1 second. So I think this is a really pretty good figure. We'll do some comparisons and bring a Green Arrow up here so you can see how he looks. It would be kind of cool if he did have a waist swivel, so I could have had him turn to the side here and have him turn back facing the camera here. But maybe we'll have to rely on his head doing that. And the collar on the armor doesn't get in the way of his head. He can kind of look up and over it. So I thought that was pretty cool. So what we'll do here really quick, we will bring up Green Arrow and see how he looks up against Deathstroke. And here he is with Oliver Queen. Been big fans of the Arrow TV show, so it's going to be kind of cool to see when we get a proper Deathstroke Green Arrow meeting here. Something I haven't done on the channel is kind of show you the height of my reflective ruler here. He's about 6.5 inches tall. He's a little bit shorter than some of the other DC Collectibles, just by a little bit. Green Arrow is just a tad bit over 6.5. So I guess I'm not exactly sure what his correct height is supposed to be, if this is about accurate, but he looks very, very good with Green Arrow. So let's see how he looks with a couple other figures up here. Here's the only other Deathstroke figure that I have right here. This is the Mattel Batman Arkham Origins Batman Unlimited line figures. I'm not sure which of the versions I like. I think the Collectibles version is going to be a better probably looking figure and correct height. But I'm kind of torn if I like more of the armored suit with the orange highlights, or the new 52 look, or there's the classic look too. The new 52 is different enough to respect kind of what's come before, but you know, kind of has. There's just something about it I really like. I mean, I like the Arkham Origins version of Deathstroke, but this one, in just the color palette, I really like that. Here's a segment I like to do called Darkseid saying, "Here, let me lend you a hand." Alright, here are the villains that I have so far. I'm missing Black Adam. I had to leave him at my comic book shop, but we have Black Manta, of course, Deathstroke that I just got today, Captain Cold, and the Joker. DC Collectibles is really knocking it out of the park with their action figures. Some are more articulated than others, but generally they have about the same amount of articulation. Out of the 3 or the 4 that are up here, the Joker does sport a little bit more articulation with having a waist turn where the other 3 don't. Again, I think they probably just opted to do that because of the sculpting, and the Joker, because of his shirt, could kind of hide that waist turn a little bit more. I think they probably could have given all of them at least the waist turn, but I think it's very cool. Let's take a look at one more picture here yet for a family photo. Here we are, one nice happy family, and it's kind of cool that I can start putting these on my shelf around my Hall of Justice that I have set up, and I can start to kind of pre-posing them in some type of battle scene or something like that to kind of make my shelves look a little bit more lively. Again, some articulation in some of these would probably make some of the posing a little bit better, but they still look cool nonetheless, and I really, really like what DC Collectibles, I can't even talk today, DC Collectibles is doing with their line of action figures and statues and everything else. I think they're really making up for what Mattel, really dropped a huge ball, and DC Collectibles, I think, is running away with it. I would totally recommend Deathstroke. He's going to be a great addition if you have any of these Justice League New 52 villains or heroes. Deathstroke is going to be a wonderful addition to your collection. So that's going to wrap it up here. As always, this is Rob for Rob's Rogues and the Batman Universe signing off, saying we will see you guys next time.